Hi friends, welcome to World Cinema Forum. Well, today I am going to tell you 10 more movies that are based on books. Well, this video is a part of a series of videos wherein we are going to discuss the movies which are based on books. Those of you who have not watched the first part, I highly recommend you to go and watch it. I will put the link in the description below. So let's begin and see which are the movies which have made it to the list in today's video. The first movie on the list is The Princess Bride, released in 1987. Well, The Princess Bride's most inconceivable achievement is somehow reducing William Goldsman's hefty novel into a movie that is almost literally just the good parts. This is partly explained by the fact that Goldman, an experienced screenwriter, adapted his own novel and clearly knew what he was doing. The end result is a ridiculously entertaining story of true love and high adventure that is perfectly faithful to the novel while streamlining the story of film. The second movie which has made it to the list is Hidden Figures, released in 2016. Hidden Figures tells the true story of three mathematicians, Katherine Johnson, Dorothy Vaughan, and Mackie Jackson, who worked on the US space program. The film adaptation of Margaret Lee Shetterly's work is fantastic, shining a necessary light on the struggle of black women to be seen as intellectual equals, while also crafting a more intimate, thrilling story of triumph over adversity. Definitely a must-watch movie for everyone. At number 3, we have Schindlers List, released in 1993. Steven Spielberg's adaptation of Thomas Keneally's book is one of the most emotionally moving pieces of cinema ever made. The movie powerfully depicts one of the most atrocious events in history, offering a reminder of how far humanity is capable of sinking, and the snippets of goodness that can nevertheless survive. Spielberg rearranged the chronology of the book and cut material mercilessly, but he amplified the horror of the story, a trade-off that renders the Holocaust as a slowly rising wave of terror and genocide, captured in ominous, hopeless black and white. Next series of movies on the list is Harry Potter, released from year 2002 to 2011. The Harry Potter film series sports 4 directors and 2 credited screenwriters, and despite being 8 films long, it had to edit J.K. Rowling's story down quite a bit. But the films are pretty faithful to both the plot and the character development that is Rowling's true genius, following the same evolution from the frothy children's tale to the darker, more morally complex story that you find in the later books. They are the ideal adaptation for the fans, who want nothing more than to see the incredible stuff they have just read about. Fifth movie on the list is an old one, titled Great Expectations, released in 1946. Translating Charles Dickens to the screen is always a challenge. His books are long, contain multitudes, and are often serial in structure. But David Lean's 1946 production of Great Expectation is still highly regarded even years later. Lean's script manages to somehow condense the story and characters into 2 brisk hours without losing anything. More than 7 decades later, the film feels modern and yet faithful to the book. Sixth movie on the list is The Devil Wears Prada, released in 2006. Miranda Priestley is one of the great villains in cinematic history, and for all the success of Lauren Wiesberger's novel, the film is an improvement. The novel, which was optioned before it was even completed, ends on a very different emotional note. But the film sharpened Miranda's character to a coal black point and gives the story more of a denouncement. At number 7, we have The Lord of the Rings, released from 2001 to 2003. Peter Jackson's trilogy of films are very faithful to J.R.R. Tolkien's classic epic fantasy novels in a broad sense. Jackson streamlined the story to a great deal, but few people complained about not having enough Tom Bombadil in there. What Jackson managed with the help of groundbreaking CGI was depicting the most famous fantasy universe ever conceived in a realistic, believable way without losing the beating heart of hope, heroism, and despair at its core. Eighth movie on the list is The Shashank Redemption, released in 1994, based on Rita Hayworth and Shashank Redemption by Stephen King. Frank Darabont's 1994 adaptation of Stephen King's novella Rita Hayworth and the Shawshank Redemption is a modern classic of cinema. A film rich with symbolism that can be interpreted in different ways. It's not particularly faithful to its source. King himself didn't think the story could be a feature-length film, but Darabont expanded the plot and some of the characters without losing the spirit of the story. The final result is a film that shows how the collaborative process of making a movie can sometimes result in something greater than the sum of its parts. Ninth movie on the list is No Country for Old Men, released in 2007. Cormac McCarthy is one of our greatest novelists, and No Country for Old Men is actually one of his more accessible works, exploring themes of good, evil, and the possibility that they are meaningless distinctions. The Coen brothers are very faithful to the novel, so faithful, in fact, that you should definitely read the book first. Otherwise, every sentence will evoke an image from the film before you can form your own. Which isn't so bad, actually, considering how beautifully composed those images are. Well, we have done a complete analysis of No Country for Old Men. I would request my subscribers to go and check this out. I'll post the link in the description below. The last movie on the list is Godfellas, released in 1990, based on Wise Guy by Nicholas Pileggi. Well, Nicholas Pileggi's novel was originally titled Wise Guy, and Pileggi worked with Martin Scorsese so closely on the screenplay, they wound up sharing a writing credit. The film takes the events described in the book and condenses them, scatters them, and arranges them to form the high-speed, accelerating cinematic experience. The result is two very different and equally brilliant experiences from the same building material. Definitely a must-watch for everyone, I must say. Well, I request you all to stay tuned to the World Cinema Forum to see the third and the fourth part of the video series. Thank you and goodbye.